life is at stake, and you have to act now. It's time to take immediate action. From out of nowhere, a sniper takes a shot at you. Now the boomerang tells you exactly where it came from within a second.
It's just like their buddy telling them where the shooter is.
No time to wait for backup? Maybe you don't need it. With robotic cameras that give you a 21st century window on your opponent's every move. To prove it, I take on a dangerous hostage situation single-handed.
Package retrieved. Check.
And when you need to be nearly invincible, this bomb-resistant super truck drives you right into the heart of the action without fear or hesitation.
It is big, it's bad, and it'll definitely get your attention.
I'm Richard Magwitz. 10 years of Navy SEAL operations has taught me he who hesitates is lost. And I'm still here to tell the tale. The trusted Humvee is one of the most useful small vehicles in the U.S. military inventory. It's lightweight, it's fast, and it can carry up to 5 troops at a time. But Humvees are especially vulnerable to improvised explosive devices, or IEDs. Often left at roadsides, these homemade bombs are responsible for the loss of more Allied soldiers in Iraq than any other threat.
The Humvee is a great vehicle, but it's important to remember it wasn't originally designed to survive IED attacks.
Maybe it's time to replace the good old Humvee with something better suited to the trials of today's urban warfare. I've come to the firing range at Edgefield, South Carolina to see the next generation in armored vehicles. I'll also be trying out a weapon system that's designed to be mounted on top. Together, they're an unstoppable team. This is the Cougar. It's an armored patrol vehicle that can carry out multiple roles, including transport for troops and equipment or acting as a mobile weapons platform. But this is no ordinary vehicle. It's been beefed up to protect soldiers from the blast of everything from an RPG attack to a roadside bomb.
When I came home from Iraq, I had been in a catastrophic kill Humvee.
Bradley Watson served 2 tours in Iraq, including one as a Marine Rifle Platoon commander. He experienced the dangers of urban conflict firsthand.
It was the morning, early October morning. We were on a sweep and clear mission in southern Ramadi. We drove over a IED that was buried beneath the surface of the road. It detonated under our vehicle and destroyed the Humvee.
On this occasion, Bradley survived, but IEDs are still the single greatest threat in conflict areas. The Cougar was designed specifically to beat the odds in a direct hit.
One of the difficulties with a Humvee is that its axles could only take roughly 6.5 tons of weight. And frankly, to stay on the ground against the size threats we've seen in Iraq and Afghanistan, we've had to have at least 7 tons for a vehicle. The Cougar today weighs in excess of 14 tons, so we're well within that margin.
Every part of the Cougar has been reinforced, including tempered steel armor, virtually indestructible tires, and bulletproof glass. Instead of a traditional flat bottom, they installed a V-shaped hull, which helps deflect explosions. It's hard to see on this Cougar, but it's exactly the same design principle I first saw used on the Grizzly, another armored vehicle I came across during a close combat training exercise.
A flat-bottom vehicle is lifted by the blast and usually penetrated by the heat of the blast. That's why when you see films of attacks on Humvees, they are typically upside down and burning.
The Cougar can withstand the blast of 2 anti-tank mines, which could take out an Abrams tank. That's equivalent of 30 pounds of TNT. Compared to the Humvee, this muzzled-up beast wins hands down. It matches it with speed, carries more troops, travels further, but most important of all, it's already proved how tough it is against enemy attacks.
We've had literally over 2,000 detonations on the Cougar vehicle in Iraq without a single fatality.
The idea of an armored personnel carrier is great. It's armored, it's there to protect you. Everybody's inside it where it's safe, except one guy, the turret gunner. How do you get him inside that vehicle and let him still do his job?
The soldier up top is constantly exposed to enemy fire, as well as the danger of being trapped under the vehicle if it flips over.
The soldier has put himself into harm's way. He's trying to point, he's trying to look, he's trying to dodge. He is trying to survive, but with him sticking outside of the vehicle.
Your gunner is a sitting duck with the rest of the crew safely below. But now, there is a solution. This is the common, remotely operated weapons station. But if that's too much of a mouthful, it answers to the name CROWS. It's a weapons platform that can be fitted with everything from machine guns to missile launchers, guided by optical and thermal imaging to find and lock onto its targets. Both the weapons and the camera are remotely controlled from inside the vehicle, where the images are viewed on a screen. It keeps the gun on top of the vehicle, but brings the gunner down below.
We've given him the capability to be able to light up, 1,000 meters away, he's able to light up a target and determine what type of target it is. Do I have a vehicle? Do I have a body? What type of body, and so forth. And if he's carrying arms. We've taken a lot of the ambiguity away from a soldier's eyes. Now, he's wearing a helmet. He's perhaps looking through a sunshade. We take that ambiguity away. We put it to him in a digital format and then put it on a display, and he's able to see exactly what it is that he needs to deal with.
Well, now that you have the power to zoom in, you have infrared capability, my eye just can't do that.
No.
I'm having a hard enough time just keeping track of where everybody's at.
CROWS is fitted with uniquely designed ammunition cannon, which carries more rounds than any other mounted machine gun used by the military.
The ammunition can is large enough to the point where you can carry enough ammunition, you can complete the entire mission without having to reload.
Not having to reload as often keeps the crew safely inside the vehicle. But more than that, the CROWS offers an unparalleled level of accuracy.
The firepower that you can deliver downrange, the accuracy, the 1 round per shot if necessary.
We've actually proven through our 50 caliber weapon, where we've backed off about 500 meters, set a Coke can out, and we've taken a Coke can out at 500 meters with 1 round. You've taken one soldier now and made him a small army by himself.
Next, I get to test fire CROWS by blasting targets, even on the move. Later, my one-man army makes use of the latest robotic spyware to take out the kidnappers and rescue the hostages.
Package received. Check.
With an obvious need from the war zone, the Common Remotely Operated Weapons Station, or CROWS, was fielded in Iraq in 2005 to provide special forces, military police, and infantry with extra protection and firepower. Mounted on virtually any military vehicle, it keeps the gunner safe inside, where at least there's armor to protect him.
There's definitely no doubt about it. The CROWS system is intimidating. Now imagine it on any armored personnel carrier, especially something like the Cougar.
Even in a completely armored Humvee, it's smart to keep your distance from any threat that could destroy your vehicle. The Cougar's muscled-up hulk protects its troops from hostile fire and concealed roadside bombs, while the gunner can still hit back with all the force he needs. Instead of taking cover, the squad can now take immediate action.
It's a great truck. It's the one you want to be in. With a CROWS added to it, given the choice, that's a vehicle I'd want to be in Iraq.
There's no doubt about the added safety of a remotely operated system. But is it actually as easy to aim and fire a weapon through optical sensors and cameras as it is using just your own eyes? Time to check it out for myself. We've set up an old car as a target, and guiding me through the basics is CROWS developer Jim Quinn. For this demo, I'm in an open Humvee, where I can activate the weapon remotely and also get a clear view of the target and the impact.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're playing a video game with a real weapon. So what you have to do is you've got to find something that you believe is a target. You then must establish that it is a target, and then you decide if you're going to eliminate it or not.
Using the joystick to operate the weapon and the cameras, I can zoom in close enough to see right inside the car. It really is as easy as it looks.
Okay, so now we have what we think might be a target, so we're going to positively ID it and say, yes, that's a target, we would like to engage it. So the way to engage it is we need to know how far away from us it is. And when we decide we would like to shoot, I'm going to arm here.
Nice and safe.
Off you go.
That's incredible. Look at that, how accurate, how smart, how safe. I was able to completely focus. I didn't feel like I had to go look downrange. I didn't have to take my eyes off the target at all. All of that, boom, right into this area. Very clearly identified threat. Very accurate. I think it speaks for itself.
And remember, in the field, the gunner is inside the vehicle where he's protected. course, I didn't have to try too hard to identify an old car out in the desert. But in a busy urban area, finding the target can be a whole lot more difficult.
This system helps make it easy to tell the good guys from the bad guys.
He can pick out a weapon in a group of people, put that crosshairs on a single target, and solve the problem.
One of the most ingenious features about the Crow system is it can fire weapons with a range from 5.56mm all the way up to lightweight 30mm rounds. This bad boy right here, this is the M230 link-fed weapon. It is big, it's bad, and it'll definitely get your attention.
So firepower is no problem. But what if you're on the move, riding over potholes and rubble where the vehicle is feeling every jolt? To be able to lock on and hit the target in these conditions, you need an incredibly stable platform.
Well, Mac, if you remember as a child, you had the gyroscopes that you used to wrap the string around, you pull the string, and then you try to move it and so forth. You have an equal and opposite type of effect taking place. Same concept here. We have fiber optic gyros in this system that when the vehicle starts to move one way, we're actually forcing our camera systems and so forth to go the opposite way an equal amount. That way we can keep the crosshairs on the target with the vehicle moving around the mount.
Sounds good in theory, but keeping the platform steady enough to shoot is a major technical challenge. The Crow shoots just fine when sitting still, but the real question is, how well will it perform on the move? Action speaks louder than words. We've set up another target, this time 200 yards away. It's my job to find the target, lock on, then obliterate it. It certainly performs as advertised. Even on the move over desert terrain, the Crow's rounds fly straight and true. And this old junker is just no match for 3,000 rounds a minute, ripping it apart. And that's what I call firepower. Now imagine being able to unleash this amount of lethal force from inside the armor of the Cougar. And you start to understand why this integrated team is headed for the front line. Next, if the enemy takes a shot at you, it gives away his position. Now, the boomerang does the math and tells you exactly where he is, all within a single second. In a combat zone, you are constantly vulnerable to enemy fire. A shot rings out and cracks past your ear. You have just a heartbeat to react before the gunman takes another shot. You have the firepower to hit back, but in the heat of the situation, you have no idea where the shot came from. A second shot could give away the shooter's position, or it could end your life.
In a combat zone, one of the most dangerous things you'll ever have to do is just get from point A to point B. And for drivers of Humvees, well, ambushes can take place almost anywhere. And in that situation, all you really want to know is one thing: where are the rounds coming from?
Believe it or not, the technology to do just that already exists. In fact, it's currently being deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq. It's an automatic sniper detection system, and its name is Boomerang. The technology was first developed by scientists and engineers from DARPA,
6 o'clock.
the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Now the project is in the hands of BBN Technologies, and I've been invited to their headquarters in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Basically, the Boomerang is a cluster of 7 microphones mounted on a mast and attached to the vehicle. These listen for a gunshot, and the computer crunches the numbers to find out where it came from. Sounds simple, right? Well, the idea might be, but the highly sophisticated computer processing behind it certainly isn't. Program manager David Schmidt supervised the Boomerang project.
So explain to me, how does Boomerang work?
Well, basically what happens is when a round goes past, a bullet goes past the array, we listen for the shock wave of the bullet. And then we listen for the muzzle blast of the gun that fired that round. And from that information, from the various signal processing algorithms that we have in the systems, we're able to tell you the azimuth or the o'clock position of the shooter, the range to the shooter, and the elevation of the shooter relative to the system.
An algorithm is a mathematical formula used to process the various audio signals.
The shockwave is a special kind of sound wave.
The man who calculated the algorithms is internationally renowned acoustics expert James Barger.
I wrote down the equations that would describe the time it would take for a bullet to leave the muzzle and for the shockwave to reach a microphone. The difference of arrival time between pairs of microphones that we measure can be solved backwards to locate exactly where the shooter is, and also the angle and the elevation of the shot.
But war is a noisy business. Can this system really cope better than your own ears against the hectic soundscape of an urban battle?
If you're in an urban environment, it's very difficult to discern where the shot is coming from. It's crowded, it's noisy. The system works very well in that type of environment.
Not only can the boomerang pick out just the sound of a supersonic bullet from the background noise, but to save a soldier's life in the midst of all that chaos, it also needs to be able to get his attention.
The first thing we do is we give them an audible cue. Shot, 2 o'clock, 120 meters. So it's just like their buddy telling them where the shooter is. 120 meters.
When the soldier hears the warning signal, he can look at the simple display screen to instantly get a more detailed breakdown of the shooter's location.
Shot, 2 o'clock. What you see here is a rosette corresponding to the positions of a clock, 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and it'll light up an LED for whichever direction the shot comes from.
What kind of reaction time are we looking at?
A second after the bullet goes by, we've already calculated, we've already figured out where that shooter is, and then we take a little bit of time to tell you where he is. So anywhere between a second and a second and a half, we tell you where that shooter is.
Now the soldier under fire no longer has to make a guess or wait for another shot. He instantly knows where the shot came from and can respond immediately. It can even perform this neat little trick on a vehicle that's driving up to 60 miles an hour. The system is accurate with shots taken up to a quarter of a mile away. That's clever enough. But what's even more amazing is that this system will never be triggered by any sound similar to a gunshot, like a firework or a car backfiring.
A shooting system, a counter-sniper system, counter-shooter system isn't any good to the occupants of the vehicle if every 2 minutes it's crying wolf. I mean, they're just going to turn it off. Okay, so you want it to only go off when it really matters.
When the first batch of boomerangs was delivered in Iraq early in 2004, the concept had progressed from an idea on a sheet of paper to a fully working system in just 68 days. To see how it works in a live situation, I'm going to play the role of a sniper trying to take out a passing vehicle.
I'm coming up on a clearing over here, and a Humvee is going to be traveling through. I'm going to find the perfect position to catch him by surprise. This may not be the perfect position, but there's enough cover and concealment here that I should catch the Humvee as it moves through this open area.
Inside the Humvee, the guys wouldn't be expecting my shot, and with all that engine noise and no visual clues to help them, there's no way they could locate me quickly without the boomerang. I'm ready to fire. If all goes according to plan, the instant a supersonic shockwave from my round passes within 30 meters of the boomerang, the system will detect the bullet, start processing where it came from, and alert the soldiers inside.
Shot, 2 o'clock, 120 meters.
Boom. Without the boomerang, I could have easily hit that Humvee with 5 or 6 rounds before they could find me. With it, my cover's been blown 1 second after my first shot.
Why is this so mission critical?
Well, anytime you come under fire, you want to be able to get out of the way, take cover, and save your life first. And given a second and a half warning, that's exactly what happens. We're able to save lives with this system. And so after that, then they're able to react and deal with the threat, whether it's to go take them out, whether it's to capture them, whatever. They're able to do that because now they know where that shooter is.
And when you're on the receiving end of that first round, you don't want to wait around for the sniper's second shot.
Shot, 2 o'clock, 120 meters.
With boomerang, it's like having a buddy in the vehicle with you who instantly knows where the contact is coming from. And that'll make all the difference in making the right decision and doing the thing that will save your life.
Next, taking care of one of the most sinister threats on the modern battlefield, the anti-personnel landmine. The solution? Enter the Dragon. And later, more than just eyes in the back of your head, these incredible remote cameras give you all of the peripheral vision you'll ever need. Landmines have been in warfare for more than a century. When wars are over, they lie buried for generations, undetected as silent killers.
You wouldn't think to look at it, but this field has a deadly secret. Mines. Buried just beneath the surface, mines are one of the most sinister killing machines ever created. They strike indiscriminately, killing thousands every year. But there is a new generation of weapons that could be the answer to destroying these minefields.
I've already seen some of these in action. Remember the Vulcan? It uses a magnesium shape charge to combat anti-tank mines and unexploded bombs. Then there was the mighty Aardvark. This 15-ton monster chews up landmines for breakfast. With around 80 countries in the world contaminated by landmines, the demand for new ways of combating them is crucial. Now, there's a new weapon designed to counteract anti-personnel mines, and I've come to England to find out more.
Everybody else back to the safety point so I can connect up, please.
Anti-personnel mines only contain small amounts of explosives, but the effects are devastating.
To show you just how lethal they are, we've set up a mannequin right next to a landmine.
It doesn't take much explosive to kill or injure someone. Every 20 minutes, someone somewhere steps on a landmine. That's more than 25,000 victims killed or maimed every year.
The UN says there's over 100 million landmines scattered throughout the globe. Most of the casualties from landmines are innocent civilians, even children. As you can see, torsos are basically intact, but the limbs are missing. This person would be bleeding to death in a matter of seconds. This is what makes landmines so sinister.
Of course, to defuse a mine, you first have to find it. Using an electronic metal detector is one way. If you're lucky enough to be dealing with the type of mine it can detect. The ones made mostly of plastic just don't show up.
One of the oldest, surest ways of clearing a path in front of you is to do it manually. Patiently, diligently, inch by inch. Once you've completed the difficult task of detecting the mine, you mark it. The next job is to dispose of it, effectively, quickly, and safely. And a revolutionary new system has been developed to do just that.
It's called the Dragon, and as its name suggests, it breathes fire.
We developed something which essentially is like a firework. Except we don't fire it upwards like most fireworks, you fire it downwards.
It was created with a team led by Dr. Steve Murray, a leading expert in explosives.
The normal way that mines are disposed of is to put explosive against them. And this explosive, you need it. Plastic explosive, it detonates, there's a security risk with that from the beginning. With these, you don't have any of that.
The Dragon is a type of pyrotechnic torch which sends a searing jet of flame towards the landmine.
That is very hot flame. And that produces a temperature of, say, 2,000 centigrade, that's over 3,500 Fahrenheit, and that just burns through the casing of any mine, burns through the metal or plastic, gets to the explosive. Once it's got to that, it starts burning, and essentially destroys the mine.
By quickly burning out most of the explosive, it prevents a high-order detonation, making it a much safer way of defusing mines.
If you get a big explosion from a mine, it can actually, the blast from it and fragments from it can hit other mines and start those initiating, in other words, exploding.
If one mine blows, it could set off a catastrophic chain reaction, detonating an entire minefield. The Dragon is also effective against anti-armor mines, big enough to take out tanks. Pyrotechnic torches have no explosive content, so they are safe to transport and handle. Because there is no high explosive materials or detonators to worry about, prepping the Dragon is very straightforward. This also means it can be used by people with minimal training in dealing with explosives.
So local people, where the problem is, where the mines are, will be able to be trained to actually manufacture and to use this product. And therefore, because this is a concept which people often call burn versus blow, in other words, burn it rather than blow it up, actually is very, very useful because of that, because more people can do it.
Can a single jet of fire really cut through a metal casing and burn out the explosives inside? Time to put it to the test. The Dragon is lightweight, highly portable, non-explosive, and doesn't touch the mine. And that's important. To maximize safety, we trigger the Dragon electronically using a long firing cable.
Leveling! 3, 2, 1.
The Dragon breathes fire with the ability to burn through 3 millimeters of steel in 2 seconds flat. No mine can withstand that.
Well, it's pretty obvious to see. There wasn't a high-order detonation. All the explosive actually is burned up. When this cools down, it'll be safe to handle. This is a smart way to do this. Safe, no high-order detonation, no casualties.
That's a whole lot better than the alternative. Coming up, the enemy never saw these coming. They swim, they climb, they can even see in the dark. These robotic cameras give you superpowers of observation. In a high-risk situation like a hostage rescue, the first thing you need is good information. Are the hostages still okay? How many kidnappers are there? Where in the building are they? Have they booby-trapped your approach? If you could get eyes inside that building before you go in, you'd have a much better chance of executing your mission.
When you're talking about performing a dynamic entry into a building, the more you know about what's going on inside those spaces, the better chance you have of coming out of there alive. One of the greatest advantages you have with going in with a team of 8 or more guys, you have at least 16 good eyes watching everything that takes place within that battle space. But what if one man had to go in there by himself and pull one person out? How would he compensate for that lack of vision?
If this was a movie, the hero would probably have a bunch of high-tech spy gadgets to help him, like miniature cameras that he could use to see what he's up against before going in. Great if you're James Bond, but this is the real world, right? Halfway across the world is Ballarnas, Switzerland, a country famous for its miniature precision engineering. But we're not talking about wristwatches here. I've come to a company called MacroSwiss to see the very latest in robotic camera devices. And I've already got the feeling I'm being watched.
Hey, Robin, how you doing? Absolute pleasure. My pleasure. All right, let's go see the gadgets.
MacroSwiss CEO Robin Castelli heads the team of engineers and designers who turn these futuristic visions into reality. I'm not really sure what I'm about to see.
Kind of feels like the Batcave, right? Oh yeah, it's like sort of Hugh's laboratory here.
All of the MacroSwiss creations are designed to extend the operator's field of vision in an amazing variety of ways.
Most of the times, the real risk is from not knowing what you're going to face.
The MacroSwiss solution is to come up with creative ways of getting cameras to where they're needed. Take, for instance, the Crab. This climbing robot was designed to scale the side of a ship, check if the deck is clear, then release a scaling ladder down to the operator below. It's a tool designed to do a very specific job.
That saves you a lot of effort, and you never have to risk a guy.
Well, you might have just lost the robot. But a robot, you can always buy another one. You can't buy another soldier.
But not all of their devices are designed to do just one job. The short-range throwing camera can go just about anywhere to give you a rotating 360-degree view of the surroundings. And I'm trying it out with MacroSwiss military consultant, Jonathan Rubini.
It'll let you see around corners, you can fly through windows, you can put it in through doorways. Anyway, but you need to have that tactical edge of seeing exactly what's going on inside without exposing yourself in any way.
When you need the camera to get there under its own steam, MacroSwiss have created the mobile spy robot.
Basically, it's another pair of eyes. You can even have the operator half a mile up the road sitting in a vehicle.
I now have an eye that will travel anywhere I want it to go.
The camera at one end of Spy Robot is upside down compared to the other. No matter which way it lands, it automatically switches to the correct view. The patented flapper wheels also work as paddles in the water and double up as shock absorbers. the whole spy robot can withstand the toughest of handling.
Let's see if it works now.
Whatever the mission, the spy robot is your eyes on the ground.
If you need to put a payload, you can put up to 11 pounds of payload on it. You could put on a bomb sniffer. You could put on a micro Uzi with a remote relay for shooting it.
And when you just need to extend your field of view in a hurry, there's the telescopic giraffe camera.
For example, if we were doing inspections in a ceiling to see if there's some IED, I would be looking in there.
So now I can see everything that might be up there real quick. If there's any threat, identify it. That could be IEDs, that could be anything.
Enemies, it could be booby traps.
So, with the throwing camera, I can check out any room I want to enter. With the spy robot, I have a scout alerting me to potential danger. The giraffe allows me to make sure above and below is clear. And for the soldier, there's the gun camera, complete with helmet-mounted display.
Now, this is what I'm facing. As soon as you release the safety catch on your weapon, the unit starts transmitting.
Whatever the gun sees, I can see as well, even in the dark. Now, I have the observational capability equivalent to a whole squad. Next, it's time to take on a mission single-handed to test the effectiveness of the Macro Swiss gadgets. I come to Switzerland to test out the robots and cameras that claim to turn a single soldier into a one-man fighting machine. My mission, if I choose to accept, is to see if these high-tech promises live up to all the hype.
Okay, here's the scenario. What we've got is a guy being held hostage in a building. He's being beat up and interrogated. My job is to go in there and get him out. I want to see what happens. We've got Jonathan here to watch my back. He's going to control the robot, and we're going to have a little fun.
Jonathan drives me to the insertion point, and I prepare to go in. Giraffe cam at the ready.
So now all we have to do is just move this over. We'll be able to enter.
While I do that, Jonathan sets up the monitor so he can watch and advise.
What I'm doing right now, making sure it's clear for me to enter. So far, so good. Entry clear. There I go.
Roger that, check.
Normally, this is the most risky part of the operation, the very first entry. But the 15-foot reach of the giraffe allows me to confirm that there are no nasty surprises waiting for me. I'm in. Now, the gun cam's powerful zoom and laser sighting allow me to spot a hostile target before he spots me.
Tango down.
Check. Tango down.
My approach is secured, so it's time to climb. As I proceed, everything I see through my gun cam is transmitted back to Jonathan. Having cleared the first room, it's time to deploy the spy robot mobile camera.
Spy robot deployed.
Robot deployed. Roger that.
Now Jonathan remotely drives the spy robot in. This time, he identifies the target.
Tango, second pillar. Check.
The spy robot carries on, scouting the area. One of the amazing benefits of MacroSwiss is that Jonathan can monitor the output of all of the cameras in use. Another room, another potential problem, but not if you have a MacroSwiss solution. The throwing camera is designed to be bottom heavy, so no matter where it lands, it will always be right side up.
Short range throwing camera deployed.
Short range throwing camera, roger that. Looking good.
The bottom of the device is motorized to rotate the camera. After a couple sweeps of the room, the camera hasn't shown anything suspicious.
Room is clear?
Room is clear, proceed.
With this information, my confidence entering a room is a world apart from a normal forced entry. I don't have to risk my life or anyone else's, just a tiny camera. This is it. All intelligence suggests that the hostage is being held in the next room. I check in with Jonathan to make sure my exit is clear. I'm lucky I did.
Primary egress negative. Go to secondary. IED. Roger that.
The spy robot has found an improvised explosive device blocking my primary exit. My plans may have been slightly altered, but the spy robot is good for more than just one thing.
Diversion needed. Diversion needed.
Spy robot is diversionary. Spy robot is diversionary. Check.
Jonathan sends the spy robot in the back door, distracting the guards just long enough for me to gain an advantage when I enter. The element of surprise means I can take them down before they even know what hits them. And rescue the hostage.
Retrieve the package. Package retrieved. Check.
Game over. And the winners are Mac and Macro Swiss. More than just handy gadgets, these devices actually remove a lot of the guesswork, allowing you to take immediate action.